So this just happened. We just found out that Charlie Kirk got shot.
It's fucking awful.
And is he dead?
No, I don't think so.
That's what was just
One of the guys out there just said it was
spoken
confirmed that he's dead.
in the lobby was just
I've been looking. I haven't seen anything that's been confirmed.
Whoa.
murder for having a different opinion from somebody else.
Yeah.
Different ideology from somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Beliefs that didn't
who
align.
did it or
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
We're in
Fuck.
Fox News.
Jesus. 27 years old, maybe? 30?
Do they even have a suspect?
I don't know. That's why I'm literally trying to track it all on Twitter, and it's all.
Fuck. Nobody deserves it. He doesn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that.
So were you saying that MSNBC had a crazy take on it? What was their take?
I mean, I'm literally just reading Twitter, so I didn't see the video. I just saw people talking about tweets of it. I'll pull it up.
Fuck.
And even now they could have taken it down.
It was a tweet or a video?
I'm doing the show while I'm trying to figure
Right,
it out.
no, I understand.
I think they were live on the air, and people clipped what they were talking about. It's not a tweet. It's not on their Twitter account or anything.
So it's someone's hot take.
Live in the moment.
Yeah, that's a crazy take. Crazy take is that. What was the take that they deserved it?
That's why I didn't want to pair.
Right.
Here you go.
We just found out that Charlie Kirk got shot. Whoa.
Murder for having a different opinion from somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm
He's
sorry?
dead?
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
News.
Jesus. Wow.
There's going to be a lot of people celebrating this. It's so scary. And it's so dangerous, too, to celebrate or to in any way encourage this kind of behavior from human beings. He's not a violent guy who's talking to people on college campuses. Wasn't even particularly rude. He was tried to be pretty reasonable with people, you know, whether you agree with him or don't. And there's a lot of stuff that I didn't agree with him on. That's
Sure,
fine.
sure.
You're allowed to disagree with people without
Right.
celebrating the fact they got shot. It's a up time. People are so divided in this country.
Tonight, we have to talk about something that doesn't feel real, even as we say the words out loud. Charlie Kirk, husband, father, and the founder of Turning Point USA, was shot and killed while speaking to a crowd at Utah Valley University. The news broke in the most jarring way possible, live, in the middle of a podcast conversation between Joe Rogan and Charlie Sheen. 1 minute they were talking, the next minute the room fell silent as a producer stepped in with an update no one ever expects to hear. You can see Joe search for words, you can see Charlie's face go pale, and you can feel the weight of what it means when a person is taken on a campus at a microphone for simply showing up to talk. Here's what we know. The shooting happened during an outdoor event, part of a tour where Charlie invited open challenges to his ideas. He would set up a table emblazoned with a dare, prove me wrong, and then take questions for as long as it took. According to officials and on-scene reporting, a single shot rang out. Chaos rippled through the crowd, and Charlie was rushed to the hospital. He did not survive. Authorities believe this was a targeted attack. A manhunt is underway, and while details continue to evolve, the core truth does not. A public figure was murdered while exercising his right to speak, and an audience had to watch the unthinkable unfold. What made Joe Rogan's reaction resonate wasn't theatrics. It was the absence of them. When his producer delivered the news, Joe went quiet. He didn't leap to conclusions. He didn't weaponize grief. He did what you hope anyone would do in that moment. He appealed to our better angels. Joe said there will be people who celebrate this, and that's terrifying. He called it so dangerous to encourage or applaud violence, even against someone you disagreed with every single day of the week. And then he said something simple that should be painted across every campus wall and every comment section online. If you oppose a person's ideas, argue better, debate them, bring a more compelling case. That is the antidote to outrage culture. That is the point of free speech. Charlie Sheen, sitting across from Joe, struggled to process it too. He called it what it looked like, murder over ideology. The fear in his voice was familiar because it's the fear so many of us feel when the boundaries of disagreement are shattered. If a speaker can be gunned down at a Q Q&A, what does that tell every student, every professor, every guest who is thinking about stepping up to a microphone tomorrow? What does it tell the next generation watching this unfold through their phones? There's a reason this story hits so hard, so fast, because beyond politics, beyond the fights that pull us into our corners, this cuts to something primal, the ability to speak and to listen without fearing for your life. Charlie Kirk was a lightning rod, no one denies that. He built Turning Point USA from a teenager's idea into a machine that filled arenas with young people, that hosted debates, that drew both devoted fans and determined critics. Maybe you loved him. Maybe you couldn't stand him, but this is not how disagreements are supposed to end in America. Not on a campus, not in a crowd, not anywhere. In the hours after the shooting, the story took over every newsfeed. Statements poured in, tributes from political leaders, from celebrities, from friends and opponents alike. Former students who sparred with Charlie wrote about being welcomed to the mic and heard out, even when tempers ran hot. Others remembered the relentlessness, the way he took the show on the road, day after day, for the fight he believed in. A country that can't agree on much agreed on this. Celebrating a death is monstrous. The very best version of us rejects it outright. Joe's words reached people who didn't share Charlie's politics precisely because Joe didn't pretend to. He admitted there were a lot of things he didn't line up with, but that's exactly why his message mattered. He talked about seeing a system that rewards division, algorithms that feed on contempt, and people who profit from turning opponents into enemies. When you create an economy of dehumanization, you shouldn't act surprised when violence shows up in the marketplace. His plea wasn't complicated. Reverse the incentives, reward good faith argument again, elevate the voices that can disagree without trying to destroy. Let's sit with the human part of this. Charlie was 31, he had a wife, he had children. Whatever you thought about his positions, he was a son to someone, a friend to many, and a father whose kids will now grow up hearing stories instead of voices. There's a scene from Joe's conversation where he remembers meeting Charlie at a gun range. Just a brief, ordinary memory of a guy being a guy, and he calls him a nice person. That detail matters because it cuts through caricature. We turn public figures into symbols, then we forget the person underneath. A life is not a comment section. A life is not your side's viral moment. And yet, we have to talk about rhetoric. We have to talk about the casual way people handle each other online. Somewhere along the way, we made a sport out of humiliation. We turned disagreement into demolition. We made it normal to wish bad things on people, to laugh at harm, to flirt with the edges of violence as if words don't have gravity. Joe's point, echoed by millions today, is that these aren't just takes. They're instructions for the worst person listening. Every time we dehumanize, we teach someone unwell exactly how to justify the unforgivable. The campus piece matters too. Universities are supposed to be the messy laboratories of free inquiry. They're supposed to be the places where you test your ideas and yourself against better ones, sharper ones, sometimes harsher ones. If a shooting at a campus event chills speech, makes administrators cancel difficult guests, or convinces students to keep their heads down, then the damage spreads far beyond one horrific act. You don't have to agree with Charlie's vision of America to see that his death in this setting is an assault on the very muscle that keeps a free society strong, the willingness to engage. In the days ahead, there will be more briefings, more information, and hopefully an arrest. The president has already announced plans to posthumously award Charlie the Presidential Medal of Freedom, an extraordinary gesture that signals how national this moment has become and how deep the shock runs. You'll see timelines reconstructed, ballistics analyzed, maps of buildings and rooftops, animations tracking a shot across a courtyard. All of that matters for justice, but none of it should distract us from the moral clarity that arrived immediately in Joe Rogan's studio. Violence is not the endpoint of our arguments. It is the collapse of them. But so where do we go from here? We start locally. We reject the dopamine hit of cruelty. We call out our own side when they cross the line. We refuse to cheer when a human being is hurt. We relearn the discipline of arguing in public without turning the person across from us into a monster. We hold platforms and personalities, big and small, to a simple standard. If your business model requires dehumanizing, find a new business. We model the kind of disagreement we'd want a 15-year-old to imitate, because guess what? They are imitating us, and we show up. The bravest thing a free people can do after an act like this is to keep talking. to keep debating, to keep inviting hard conversations into the light. That doesn't dishonor grief, it honors it. It says we will not surrender the public square to fear. It says we won't hand our future to the most unwell person in the room. It says the American experiment, built on speech, on persuasion, on the civility of strength, still belongs to the living. To Charlie's family, there are no words that can carry what you're carrying, but there are millions of us, strangers, who are holding you in our thoughts tonight. To those who knew him personally, who worked alongside him, who argued with him passionately, and then argued again the next day, may you find comfort in the fact that he did not hide from the debate he loved. He took it everywhere he could, and he met people where they were, even when they were angry, even when they were sure he was wrong. That takes a kind of courage. It deserves remembrance. And to everyone listening right now, on your commute, in your kitchen, in a dorm room, wondering what it means to walk onto a stage, remember Joe's first instinct, the one that cut through shock and confusion. Do not celebrate this. Do not feed the darkness. If you think you have a better argument, bring it. If you think you can change a mind, try. If you think the country is too divided to fix, then be the person at the microphone who proves yourself wrong. We're going to keep following the investigation, and we're going to keep talking about what this moment reveals about the culture we're building, online, on campus, and in the real world where real people get up and speak. For now, let's end where Joe began, with something plain and hard and necessary. Disagreement is not a death sentence. It is a test of character, and we will be judged by how we handle it. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. May we honor your family with compassion, and may we honor your legacy with courage. Not the courage to agree, but the courage to stand, to listen, and to answer words with better words.